Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Abidemi Sanusi. I'm an author and the founder of Ready Writer, where I help people write their first book. I help them write better, make more, and grow their author brand. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about writing, how to start writing your book with confidence, because this is a real issue. It's a real challenge for so many other people. So here's what we're going to do. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fear of starting. Okay, this is a really big fear. And I think this will probably resonate with a lot of you. You've got an idea for a book. You might have had the idea for a long time. It doesn't matter. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 10 seconds, 1 week. It doesn't matter. But you've had this idea for a book for a while. And maybe you've started writing the book. You've written chapter 1 and you felt all the feels. Do you know what I mean? You've had all the feels. Oh my God, it's chapter 1. This is fantastic. This is great. You typed in chapter 1. You feel all glowy. You feel really good within yourself. And then you start writing the first sentence, you do the first paragraph. And then after that, okay, maybe you get to the second paragraph, or you've written like, I don't know, not 50 words, or perhaps written like 200 words. And all of a sudden, this paralyzing fear comes over you. And you start thinking things to yourself. You start thinking to yourself, oh my God, this is really rubbish. I don't know what I'm writing. Whatever made me think that somebody like me could actually write a book? And then you stop. And then maybe you pick it up a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, and then the same thing happens. And then one day you decide, you give in to that voice. One day you wake up and you say to yourself, I'm just not. I should accept the fact that I'm never going to be an author. I'm never going to get my book published, and it's not for me. So what I'm going to do in this video, how to start writing with confidence, is to help you, just talk you through this particular challenge and give you the steps and what you need to do to basically help you push through and overcome these blockers. So the first thing is, when it comes to writing your book, especially if it's your first book, and I want you to know that what you're experiencing is what we call the imposter syndrome, okay? And this fear of not being good enough, not knowing what you're doing is actually good enough, and having the thoughts in your head that actually tell you that what you're writing is crap. You don't even know if you're doing this well enough. And this thing about comparing yourself to other people, maybe you are comparing yourself to, the authors whose books that you love reading. And if that's you, I will strongly urge you not to do that, because essentially what you're doing, you are comparing yourself. You're starting from ground zero. You're comparing yourself. You who are starting from ground zero, you're comparing yourself to your favorite author or authors who've actually done this for a very long time. Maybe they're on book 3, 4, 5, 6, and they may have been doing this for quite some time, 10, 20, whatever odd years. And even the ones that you see on the news, that you see them and it's like, oh my God, they've got a 3-book publishing deal. This is for people who are traditionally published, and they've been offered £200,000, $200,000 as an advance. Listen, what you're seeing is just the Instagram version. You're seeing the highlights, okay? You do not see the years of struggle that this person has basically gone through, the years of rejection. You don't know their journey. And I'm speaking to you from experience. I've written 10 books. I've ghostwritten and co-written about 3 books. I have 2 pen names. I've been nominated for literary awards. I'm self-published and traditionally published. And in my day job, I'm also, with my corporate world, I'm a content strategist. All this to tell you that I am actually in this, okay? This is what I do. I breathe this stuff, writing and publishing, from the creative side and from the corporate side, day in, day out. So in terms of where you are, how to basically start writing with confidence, one of the things you need to stop doing is to stop comparing yourself to other people. Everybody has their own journey. Your journey is different. Their journey is also different. And also, the thoughts and ideas that you have in your head, not knowing whether something you're writing is good enough, that is perfectly natural. It's like me waking up today. If I wake up tomorrow morning and I decide I'm going to be a NASA or I don't know, a space scientist. Is there such a thing? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to wake up. That's never going to happen, by the way. Okay. But if I do wake up tomorrow and I decide I'm going to be a space scientist, I am not going to compare myself, okay, to other space scientists that are out there, because that would be mad. These are people, they've been space scientists for a while. They've probably gone to school for like 10, 15 years, okay? And then had to basically perfect their skills of being space scientists. I'm not going to compare myself to them. I know it's a long stretch, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. If it's your first book, or you've been thinking about writing a book for a while and you've started and you stopped, you started and you stopped because you've been paralyzed by fear. You think, I don't know if it's good enough. Oh my God, this is really rubbish. What made me think I'm going to be a writer? These thoughts are perfectly natural. What you must do, okay, is not give in to those thoughts. And just remember, this is your first book. You're just starting out. You do not know the industry. And it's perfectly natural for you to have these thoughts in your head, okay? Now, what you must do, you must not give in to those thoughts, okay? It's okay to think to yourself, I don't know what I'm doing. Because believe it or not, even established authors like myself, we do get those thoughts. And do you know what we do with those thoughts? We push them aside and we keep on writing, because we're not going to let anything hold us back, okay? And then the second thing is, when it comes to writing, maybe something you want to consider is having a book coach. I am one, and I'm not saying that you should come to me. If you want to, that's fine. There's a link. There's a free resource under this video that you can tap in, that you can click on it. There's a link on there. It will take you to some resources that can help you. I'm just saying that that's perhaps something you want to consider. But if you don't want to do that right now, that is okay. But what I want you to know, if you don't take anything away from this video, the most important thing you need to take away is the fact that having those thoughts in your head that are paralyzing you and preventing you from getting to the end of paragraph 1 or page 1 or to the end of the book is perfectly natural. But what you must not do is let it paralyze you to the point where you give up the dream of being an author. That's what I'm saying. Now, the second thing is, when it comes to writing, okay, I think people have an idea that authors or all creative people, that we just wake up in the morning and we wait for inspiration. We're like this. And we wait for inspiration, and only then, especially like if you're an author, if you're a writer, and only then do we start writing. That it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. 99.9% of authors, a lot of people who write books, they're just like you and I. They have 9 to 5s, okay? So what they do, they fit in the writing alongside their corporate job or whatever job that they have. You know, maybe they're plumbers. Yeah, plumbers write books as well. I know, I've known a couple of those. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to writing, for you to do well, okay, for you to basically crush it, you need to fit in the writing into your life. Okay, you need to fit it into your life. And I think for a lot of people, when they start writing, they have this thing as well. I wish I had all the, I wish if I had this, if I had the perfect moment, if I had, if I didn't have to go to my day job, if I didn't have to be a stay-at-home parent, if I didn't have to. But let me give it to you, okay? If I didn't have to do this and that, I will have all the time in the world to do the writing. And that's not true. And that's not true. Take it from me. Take it from me. I used to think that, as so many of my fellow author friends as well, and we've shared the same story. We all used to think that if we had all the time in the world, if this happened and that happened, if we had the perfect conditions, then we'll be able to write. And that's not true. The fact of the matter is, people write in the midst of writing. Creators, that's what you do. Okay? You do and you create while doing life. And that's just like the way that it is. It's really funny to me, actually, because I have so many people come up to me and they say, Abidemi, I wish I had all the time in the world to write. That's okay. That's okay. Because I think it's they've got this romantic idea of writing or being a creative, which is that it's not something that is sustainable. They don't really see it as a job. I see it as a job. It is my job, actually, as an author, to write books. They don't see it as a job. They just see it as this kind of, romantic thing that people do, but they don't really take you seriously as like a business person or somebody that's basically working to earn an honest crust. And that's okay. So in terms of writing with confidence, okay, which is what this video is all about, what I'm trying to say to you is, if you're waiting for that perfect moment, okay, don't. The time to start, there will never be one. There will never be one, okay? So in terms of helping you to start writing with confidence, if you're waiting for the perfect moment, if you think all the perfect conditions are in place, then I'm going to start writing. There will never be a perfect moment to do anything, to do any writing or basically anything in life. I would just tell you to start writing now. And the second thing is when you do start writing, it's okay. It's perfectly natural to have to have doubt. But what you must not do is let that doubt cripple you to the point that you don't get anything done. You need to push through and understand that it's perfectly natural. Even veteran authors like myself will have those moments, but we don't let it hold us down. We just basically push through because we're professionals and that's what we do. And the third thing is probably the most important thing, is your why. Okay, when it gets hard, and trust me, it will, because we live in the world. It's just the way that the world is. Okay, life can be kind of challenging, and when you're writing a book or doing anything that you want to do in life, basically, it's very easy, um, because life throws so many things at us, right? And some of it is good. It can help you to build resilience. And some of it, sometimes you find yourself just fighting, okay? And what makes people pull through, to be honest with you, they go back to their why. Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? What am I fighting for? And the reason I'm going to root this in kind of life experience is the same thing when it comes to your book. I have people come up to me all the time. They have ideas about, what being an author is like and what my life is like. And a lot of it, to be honest with you, it's just their own kind of fantasy and idea. And I don't really engage with those kind of conversations because it really is not fruitful for me. It doesn't do my life any kind of good to basically indulge in those kind of conversations with them. So for you, what I'm trying to say is the reason you're writing your book matters, because when it gets hard, when life throws you curveballs, or when you're at the end of paragraph 1 and you don't know what you're doing, or it just seems hard and there's just so much to learn about the writing and publishing industry, it's very easy to think to yourself, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, and that's why your why matters. So for a lot of people, the reason they want to start writing, they want to write a book, is something that they've always wanted. Maybe you write it, maybe your writing is a passion, maybe it's a hobby, maybe you want to write a book about your grandmother's life or your grandparents' life. It doesn't matter what, you want to write your family history. It's okay. Whatever your why is, it's really, really important, because when it gets tough, when it gets challenging, okay, when you're book writing, when it starts getting tough, when it starts getting a bit challenging, it is your why that will actually pull you through. It is what will basically help you to and inspire you to write the next sentence, the next paragraph, and help you get to the finish line. So in terms of helping you how to start writing with confidence, your why is really important. I have some people who've told me, oh my God, I would love to start writing a book. I would love to write a book. But when you probe a little bit deeper, what they actually want is, it's not the idea of writing, it's not, they don't really want to write the book. They like the idea of to have written a book, okay? The actual kind of process of writing a book, it's not one they're really interested in, okay? They don't want, all they want to see is their name on the front cover. And that's okay. That's a perfectly natural human thing. Stroke your ego, stroke your vanity, that's fine. So those types of people, they're the ones that basically just want to go and use AI to write a 500-word or 1,000-word ebook. They wake up and they put it on Amazon and they tell everybody, hey, I'm an author. Don't get me wrong. I think AI has its benefits. But what I'm trying to say to you is that those types of people, they're not going to sit down and write a 60,000 word book or 85,000 word book. They're not going to do that, because it demands everything from you. So kudos to you, actually, for being kind of strong and saying you're going to see it through. So your why. So when you're going through the tough times, if your why is, I want to write my grandparents' story, I want to preserve my family history in a book, I want to write a book about my family and just basically, present it to everybody at Christmas time I have this idea, crazy idea for a novel, these crazy characters, and I've always wanted to do it. Oh, I love, the art of writing and making my characters come to life. It doesn't matter what it is, okay? If your why is strong, if you really believe in your why, okay, it will help you get through the challenges and the blockers that come in the process of writing a book. So, and that will in turn help you write your book and finish it with confidence. The third thing is you need to basically believe in the value of your work. You need to believe in your book idea. One of the most galling thing for me, and it's not even galling actually, it's actually really, really hard for me to hear is when I speak to people, they're quite new to this writing and publishing industry. Once they find out that I'm an author, they kind of come up to me and it's always like a really kind of whisper, oh, Abidemi, I've been thinking about writing a book as well, but nothing is going to happen. My book idea is really crap. Nobody's going to buy it. And that really, for me, I really believe that in the power of words, okay, the power of words. As you say it, and so shall it be. Number one, don't put yourself down. And I understand because nowadays, like I said, it's really, really easy for anybody to wake up in the morning and essentially write a book, so-called book, and then, upload it to Amazon and call themselves an author. And in the next vein, what they're doing, they're calling themselves an author and running writing classes. That's fine. But what I want to say to you is you need to understand that everybody has a unique writing voice. You can give 10,000 people the same idea for a book, but the way they will execute it is going to be so different, so different. So if you're worried about how your book is going to stand out in the market in the midst of all the stuff that's being published today, I really think you don't have anything to worry about, okay? You don't have anything to worry about. Let me give you another example. There are dating shows. For example, Love is Blind, The Bachelorette, Love Ever After, Love Later. All of these, they're dating shows. And they're all built on one premise, which is this: come on these shows and you will find true love or your forever partner or whatever that it is. Now, the basic premise is the same, but the execution of the idea is completely different. And that's why you have 20,000 variations of these dating shows. Love is Blind, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, surprise, surprise. What's that? There was a show in England. I can't remember what they're called. Was it The Dating Show or whatever that it is? I digress. But I think you understand what I mean, okay? Your uniqueness, your life experience, your unique writing voice, that's what's going to help you, and your unique writing style. That is what you bring to the market, and that is what you're going to apply to your book when you read it. So if you're terrified and scared and you're thinking, well, nobody's ever going to buy my book because there's so many books out there, how will mine stand out in the market? It will stand out in the market because you have unique life experience. You have a unique writing voice. You have a unique writing style. So the way that you approach the book is going to be unique to you. You're the only person that can write your book, the only way that you can write it. Nobody else. So I hope this gives you comfort, okay? Now, the other thing is still, in terms of writing with confidence, listen, I always say to people, I have two brains. A few years ago, I was featured on Forbes, on Forbes, and I remember the reporter, what he said to me, we're on a virtual call, and he said, Abidemi, you are the most analytical writer I have ever seen, ever met with. And it was quite funny to me because people always say this to me, because essentially, on the one hand, I write books. I write fiction and non-fiction, and I write for two markets: the general market and then the Christian market. And then the other side of my brain, I'm really into tech, okay, even AI. But that's another conversation for another time. I'm really into my analytics. In my daytime job, I'm a content strategist and a digital nerd. These are the things that I love talking about. These are things I'm passionate about. So for a lot of people, when they think about writers or any kind of creatives, to be honest with you, they often think that we love chaos that things have to be chaotic. And if it's not chaotic, that means it's not creative. I don't subscribe to that kind of thinking at all. I know for a fact that if my desk, okay, my workstation is untidy, it's going to do my head in. I'm not going to be doing any kind, I cannot work on an, without I can't work when my desk is untidy. I also know for myself that, that if my house is not clean, if it's not tidy, it is impossible for me, impossible for me to basically concentrate and get any work done. So the reason I mention all this is because you're watching this video most likely because you have an idea for a book and you're struggling with, with confidence. You don't know what to do. You want to move on, but you can't. And you probably have ideas of what real authors, what real writers are like. And in all likelihood, my story, in all likelihood, my story, on the one hand, working in corporate and doing those things and being a tech person, on the other hand, being a creative writer, writing all these kind of creative books about these crazy characters. I love data analytics. I love that kind of stuff. So what I want to say to you is don't subscribe to this stereotype, to this myth about, how writing has to be chaotic. It really isn't. And I think for your sake as well, if you're subscribing to that, I will seriously urge you to have a rethink, because nobody does well in chaos. So in terms of your book idea, I mention all this because in terms of your book idea, you need to find a way to basically write them down, okay? And on the contrary, writing things down does not detract from your imagination. It doesn't make you less creative. I have some people, they say, it's all in my head. I like it. It's just all in my head. It just gives me more free flow. But then they spend like one session with me where they essentially, I always say pen and paper, write those book ideas down, write your book idea down. Let's give you some structure, okay? Let's think about your characters. Let's think about the main plot. How do these things actually fit together? Listen, I've had people that are writing books, not even fantasy, just your usual contemporary books, and they have like 15 characters. And those characters, they add nothing to the story. Why did you add those characters? Well, it just seemed like a good idea, and I think that, the readers will like it. No, they won't like it because then what you have is bloat. What you have is bloat. So you need to basically take out all that stuff so you can give your readers a really, really good immersive experience. So in terms of how to start writing with confidence, I hope this has helped you, okay? Just to summarize what we've talked about here, how to start writing with confidence. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to your favorite authors, okay? They've been at this game a long time. You're starting from ground zero. Know that your thoughts about not being good enough and not knowing if what you're writing is good enough, they're perfectly valid, but don't let that stop you from keeping on, okay? Don't let that stop you from pushing through. Your why is very important. If you're only writing for fame and fortune, listen, when the hard time comes, when the challenging time comes, and they will come when you're writing a book, because it's just the way that life is, okay? When you're stuck, you need to get unstuck and you don't know what to do. It is your why that will help you write the next sentence, the next paragraph, the next chapter. If you're only doing this for fame and fortune, I'm not saying that's bad. That's okay. That's up to you. At the first hurdle, you will fall and you will not pick it up again. Okay, you basically just say to yourself, usually that's what I see anyway. Oh, I wasn't really interested in that stuff anyway. I just thought it was going to be a quick way to make money. And the third thing is, you need to lean. We've talked about leading into your why, but also the importance of having structure, okay? Importance of having structure. Structure is not about having 1 hour to write a book. Really, it just means that your work environment, whether that is your kitchen table or your bathroom. I've worked on a book. I've told this story so many times early on in my career. There was nowhere else in my house for me to write my book because my house was packed with people. I had family staying with me, and I had an 85,000 word book to deliver to my traditional publisher. So I basically wrote in the bathroom every day. I would go to the bathroom after work, write for 15 minutes on my laptop, because that was the only space, the writing space that I had. And all I had was 15 minutes. So for you, in terms of your book idea, I would just basically urge you just to sit down and just think it through. Okay, if you're writing fiction, just write, try and do like a one-liner. What is your book about? Where is the fiction? Where is the friction? Okay, in terms of the characters, what did they bring to the table? What is your plot like? What about the structure? Outline your work. I think for me, I find that really useful because I like to know what happens in each chapter, and I'm a big fan of outlining your work. So I hope all these things will give you the confidence to keep on, to start and to write your book and to get it to the end. And before I basically round off, I want you to know millions of people would like to write a book. Millions of people dream of writing a book, and they do nothing about it. But you're watching this, okay? You're watching this. And the fact that you're watching this and you've come this far is a testament, okay, to your determination and ambition about this writing dream of yours. So all I want to say is congratulations. Now go and write and don't let anybody stop you. And don't forget to subscribe.